Ask me to Kjalma's skull. It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. Issue 80, Final Battle Report. Hello everyone and welcome to the Final Battle Report for Warhammer 40,000 Imperium. So before we get into the remaining part of issue 80, which is the Roboute Guilliman and the battle, don't forget to, of course, like this video if you are enjoying the content, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop a comment down below. I love having chats with all of you guys about your various hobby antics, and I've also been getting a few queries about how I tackle certain paint jobs, so that's really nice to have a bit of feedback. And I will be doing perhaps some videos in the near future. But there we go. Don't forget, of course, finally to check all my links in the description down below, including the Mad Merlins Patreon, where there is now a dedicated Partworks tier for anyone wishing to support the Partworks section of this channel. I am going to be doing a Merlin Mumbles later on towards the end of August, where I'm going to be laying out a few things that's going to be coming up on the channel over the next 6 to 12 months. But there we go. Let's get on then and have a look through the remaining part of issue 80. We'll go over the 2 army lists, and then we'll get into the battle report. And I am kind of regretting doing the whole doubling up on detachments, but only the ones we have in the magazine, because I'm kind of overpowering the Space Marines in this instance. I think things might be different if I was just using the individual single units that we get with the collection, but it is what it is. And it does give a bit more variety to the Necron side as well, because it's getting a bit samey all the time. But we'll see how things go in the future, because we do have, of course, the 10 bonus issues to go through. I'm still not sure how I'm going to do the campaign. I'm waiting, hopefully, to have a better place to play, as it's getting a bit annoying. Playing on the floor, it hurts my back. I'd rather have a nice large table set up somewhere if possible. And yeah, I also would like to get my filming studio back to how it normally is laid out, so that I can access the sink and do some washing up for certain bits like my paint pots, etc. Because they are due another clean. Gave them a wash back in May, and yeah, they do need another wash out. But I've been rambling long enough, and I think it's time we take a look at our rules for Mr. Guilliman here. So let's go vertical and then take a look through issue 80. So yeah, before I forgot, I want to try and get this my hobby studio back to how it was before I started doing the bigger battle reports with Imperium, and I also want to have someone better to play games on, as doing it on the floor is really starting to do me back in, and there is still more big battles ahead with the extended 10 issues. I'm going to do the magazine coverage videos first, I think, then I can at least get the models built and painted, and then I might do the campaign as a series of linked videos. Right then, issue 80 and our final components are just Roboute Guilliman's rules. So we have Roboute Guilliman. He is 18 power, and he is a Lord of War choice, and he is worth that 18 power. So he has a move of 8, weapon skill and ballistic skill of 2+, strength and toughness of 6, 9 wounds, 6 attacks, leadership of 10, and a 2+ save. He has the Hand of Dominion, which is a melee and a shooting weapon. So shooting is a 24-inch rapid-fire free, strength 6, -1 and 2 damage bolter. And in melee, it's a power fist ×2, -3 AP, but 4 damage. And he also has the Emperor's Sword. When resolving an attack made by this weapon, an unmodified roll of 6 inflicts D3 mortal wounds on the target, in addition to any other damage. So yeah, really powerful artifact of Imperium history there. So rules, we got the Angels of Death faction rules as normal, so he gets all the bonuses from that. He has the Armour of Fate, which gives him a 3+ invulnerable save, and the first time he loses his last wound, he rolls a d6 on a 4+, he comes back with d6 wounds remaining. As close as possible to where he was originally destroyed. He also has Authored Codex, so in your command, if your army is battle force, you receive 3 extra command points, which covers the tax of the 3-point Guilliman's command detachment, which adds in a Lord of War to your army. So that's pretty good. Plus we get the extra 2 from Calgar as well, although I think he won't be the Warlord, so I won't be able to get the extra 2. But I think I'll be using Guilliman as the Warlord to get that extra 3 to negate that cost there. We have Master of Battle, so he adds 1 to his charge and advance rolls for all friendly Imperium units within 12 inches of him. Reroll hit rolls of 1 attacks made by friendly Imperium units whilst within 12 inches of this model, and reroll morale tests. So he is a big beacon of hope and buffing. He is also the 13th Primarch, so this is another aura ability. Reroll hit rolls for attacks made by Ultramarine Core and character units whilst within 6 of this model. Reroll wound rolls of 1 made by models in friendly Ultramarines Core units whilst their unit is within 6 of this model. And finally, he's the Avenging Sun. If your army is battle forged, this model must be your Warlord, even if another model has a rule to this effect. So even if you did have Calgar, which I do, Calgar can't be because Guilliman supersedes him. Then we've got his keywords. He's Nobility Made Manifest, which is his Warlord trait. So friendly Ultramarines Infantry and Ultramarine Biker units can perform heroic interventions as if they were characters whilst within 6 inches of this Warlord. So pretty nasty then. We get basically every core and biker unit, infantry and biker unit within range of him count themselves as characters, which is pretty cool for the purpose of heroic interventions. So you get a nice lot of counter charges going. And then finally, of course, we got the Guilliman's Command Detachment, which is a specific detachment that allows you to take Guilliman. We again have a tutorial on the back, so we've got the tutorial there for the detachment, and then we have tutorials for Nobility Made Manifest. Here we see the Assault Intercessors have been charged by the Scorpec Destroyers here. The bikes are within 3 inches of the Scorpec Destroyers, and they are also within 6 inches of Guilliman, meaning they can make a heroic intervention pile-in as if they were a character model. So yeah, very handy. Right then, let's have a look at our scenario, then we'll bring in the armies. So 100 power, this is the biggest battle we've got to play so far, and I don't think there's any 100 power battles in the bonus issues. Possibly issue 90, the final battle, might be 100 power. I haven't looked at those magazines in a while, but I have read through all of them. So yeah, 100 power, the duel beneath the gate. So this is a pretty intricate mission. It's really nice and fun. So we got our 4 battle mats, and we even have the mini mat from issue 1 set up in the center there, which is going to be a duel field. So we've got the rule here for duelists. The captain and the Necron overlord are duelists with a wounds characteristic of 25 each. These models are not included as part of either army and do not count towards the power rating. Neither duelist may move during the movement phase or shoot during the shooting phase. They may not use faction abilities except for living metal or stratagems, nor can they affect units outside of the duel with their abilities. At the end of every fight phase, they fight. The player whose turn it is fights first. The duel zone. Before the battle begins, the captain and Necron overlord are placed in the duel zone. Units outside cannot move into the duel zone. The duelists must remain wholly within the duel zone. Units units outside the duel zone cannot target units inside the duel zone and vice versa. And finally, the duel zone counts as a blocking piece of terrain. So we've got this nice little area which is 15 by 9 inches, which blocks terrain, gives you a nice little bit of cover there. So the captain has the Sword of St. Marcius, which is a relic weapon, so it's +1 strength, -3 and 3 damage, replacing his Mastercrafted Power Sword. Primary objective is capture and control. This is a little confusing because it says they control the objective here in the opponent's deployment zone. I'm guessing it means the one closest to the opponent's deployment zone, because the deployment zones are actually only 6 inches wide either side. And we got the 4 objectives here in the center, or in a diamond pattern, which are what we fight over. So yeah, primary objective then is capture and control as usual. We saw 10 points for controlling one or more objective marker, controlling the opponent's objective marker, which was going to be 1 and 3 in this case, and controlling more objective markers than the opponent. Can't be scored in the first battle round. Secondary objectives then, we also have the victorious duelist. If the captain lost a duel and was slain, the Necron player scores 15 points. If the Necron overlord lost a duel and was slain, the Imperium player scores 15 points. If both are destroyed, or if both are still alive at the end of the battle, neither player scores any points. So yeah, definitely gonna have to make sure we play all the way to turn 5 for this mission. So it might be a little bit longer than my normal battle reports. And finally then, on the back of the magazine, our next 2 issues are Paragon Warsuits. I already have these built and painted. They will be, of course, covered. I will be doing each individual issue just to help break it down. Otherwise, there's going to be way too much lore to cover, because each of these magazines has a fair bit of content to cover. But yeah. Right then, I will bring in my armies and we'll see what I'm using. So starting off excuse me, with the Imperium detachment. First off then, we have the Guilliman's command detachment. For 3 command points we have, of course, Roboute Guilliman. Then the rest falls into a single 50+ power detachment and is broken down into the Space Marines and the Battle Sisters. So we have all of the Battle Sister stuff. So we've got the Canoness, the 10 Battle Sisters, 3 Arcoflagellants, the Sisters Repentia, the Mistress of Repentance, the Penitent Engine, and the Seraphim there. For the other HQs in the list, we've got Calgar, of course, and we've got a Lieutenant there. We have 2 squads of Victrix Guard, 1 to bodyguard Guilliman, not that he needs it, and 1 to bodyguard Calgar and the Lieutenant. We have the 10 Assault Intercessors, the 3 Outriders, the 10 Infiltrators, 5 more Assault Intercessors, the Invader ATV, and of course we have the Captain with his Relic Sword there, just sitting to the outside of the entire force. So yeah, 100 power, spot on. Like I said at the start of the video, I'm kind of regretting doubling up on certain things. I should really only have a maximum of 10 Assault Intercessors, but I built up 5 from my personal collection to add to my squad here. I've got a second set of Victrix Guard, which I should only have the 1 set of, but I kind of like the models. For 10th edition though, you now have to take these with Calgar, and they come as a unit and attached to another unit, which is kind of 10th edition complications. But yeah, it can't be taken as an individual unit anymore, which is kind of sad. They do come in the same box as Calgar, so you can't really get them as an individual unit anyway. So I do have a second set now, just sitting around spare for the future. The Canoness then, of course, has her usual Emperor's Grace upgrade and the Sword of St. Marcius, as I mentioned, on the Captain. Other than that, there's no other upgrades taken on anybody. So yeah, tactics for the game: Sky Striking the Seraphim and probably combat squadding the Infiltrators to get them on objectives early, hopefully. Outriders and Invader will form one flank. The main Primaris force will go at the centre. Guilliman and his small detachment will go up one side, backed up by the Battle Sisters here. So there we have it, that's it. Like I said, Guilliman will be my warlord, he has to be my warlord, and yeah. He does at least counteract his own downside, which is the 3-point cost for his specific detachment, in the form of giving those points back as having him as your warlord. But yeah, that's my Imperium force. Now let's take a look at my Necron force, and I believe I do need to go quickly get some more stuff from upstairs. And I can just about squeeze in my 100 power Necrons. So as you can see, there's quite a mixture of models here. So let's go over it from top to bottom. So first off, we've got the Overlord on his command barge as my warlord. He has Enduring Will, so that's to reduce damage. We have the... I lost him. He was here a minute ago. There he is. Oil Warden. We have the Plasmancer, who's upgraded with the Quantum Orb. The Chronomancer, who's upgraded with the Techno Nanomines. And the Technomancer here, who's upgraded with the Overcharger. So he's going to be in charge of boosting the Canoptic constructs here. Troops, we have 3 big troops. We've got 20 warriors with Reapers over here, 20 warriors with Flayers, and then 10 Immortals. So yeah, that is a lot of bodies on the Necron side of things. I've had to raid my older Necron collection for the extra models. We also have 2 squads of Scorpec Destroyers, each with a plasma sight. I'm using a different plasma sight to show the different squads. We have 2 Canoptic Reanimators, so 1 for each block of warriors. This is the entire key of the army when I first started writing it. We have the Triarch Stalker, who's going to support the squad of one squad of warriors and possibly the Immortals for extra shooting abilities. We've got the Death Marks for taking down enemy characters, and 5 Flayed Ones fill out. Where was I? Flayed Ones rounding out the force there. Sorry, I had to get the door. So yeah, tactics for this army is pretty much any Necron tactic. Wear down the opponent with Gorse Fire. Chop up what's left with Destroyer Cults and Flayed Ones. And of course, buff myself with Reanimators here and the Technomancer, the Cryptex. So yeah, rather big list. Haven't took Lichguard, which is, you know, something I don't normally do. I always like taking the Lichguard. They're a pretty powerful unit on the battlefield. But I've took the Reanimator, and it isn't going to be equipped with a Heat Ray. It is going to have the Gorse Destructors, as I found them really... heavy Gorse Cannons, not Destructors. Destructor is the heavy destroyer. The heavy Gorse Destructors, as I found them quite useful at taking out mass infantries. So yeah, I'm going to be using that again. I was hoping to paint up my second one in time, but other projects kept getting in the way. But this now needs to get done, and I'm getting it done. And of course, just off camera, I'll push him in a bit, we have the Overlord, who will be in the duel arena against the Captain. So yeah, gonna have quite a lot of fun. I took a lot of the Cryptex upgrades just to, you know, final battle, try them out again. Nanomines might be useful if I get first turn and I feel like I'm going to be charged. I'll flick the mines at something. I will make sure I have some suitable markers handy. The Quantum Orb is going to be useful. I don't think the Overcharger will come into much use. I was planning, I think, on taking a few more Canoptic units, but I ended up running out of space. If I had to redo this list with the restrictions of just the models in the collection, it'd just be 2 squads of 10 warriors, 1 with Reapers, 1 with Flayers. I'd take the Wraiths, the Scarabs, the Spider, and then have a nice little Necron Canoptek detachment. And I'll probably take the Tomb Blades for something fast and nippy. But I am working on 2 extra Tomb Blades to paint up using the Gauze Blaster upgrades. So I'll be able to field a unit of just the Gauze, as that's really the only option that the Necrons Tomb Blades need, I feel. Tesla is kind of weak at the moment, and I'm not the biggest fan of particle weapons, as I've mentioned before. The only reason my spiders have them is because the magazines told me to build them with them. Otherwise, I would gladly leave them off and just have them as a big chunky support monster chopping up enemies. Right then, I'm off to set the battlefield up, and I'll be back shortly. Right, I'm back. Here we are, all deployed, ready for this final battle of Imperium. So, in the centre then, we have, of course, the Captain and the Overlord there in their duel with 25 wounds each, indicated by the dice there next to them. It's hard to see this distance, but it does say 25 and 25. Then for deployment wise, we've got our 6-inch deployment zones running along the long edges. So we've got from my left to my right, we've got the Invader, 10 Assault Intercessors, Calgar, Victrix Guard, Lieutenant, 5 Assault Intercessors, Guilliman behind him, he's Victrix Guard, 3 Outriders, then Repentia, Mistress of Repentance. Behind the building there is the Canoness, the Battle Sisters then, and the Pentin engine are the Archoflagellants at the back. And we have the Seraphim in Skystrike. For the Necrons, just off the screen is the 10 Immortals with the Chronomancer, the Reanimator, first Reanimator, the Triarch Stalker, the Overlord here on his command barge, sort of as central as I could get. 1 unit of Scorpec Destroyers, Royal Warden, Plasmancer, first unit of 20 Warriors. Then we've got the second Reanimator, second unit of 20 Warriors, second unit of Scorpec Destroyers just off the side. You can just about see the first one there. And finally the Technomancer. So let's do our usual dramatic reading before we head to the dashboard and roll off for first turn, and I'll show you what's going to be active in the way of abilities. The Dolmen Gate. And so it comes to this. The first true turning point in the war for Ramesses dawns over Kjalma's skull. Imperial forces have broken through to the chamber that houses the Dolmen Gate and now threaten to destroy the Necrons' main method of summoning reinforcements. Both armies now converge upon this key location and objective, and the halls of the Necron tomb complex shudder and echo with the sounds of violent conflict. Duel of Champions. Whilst the Necron Overlord meets the Space Marines leader in single combat, the rest of the Necron force surges into the vast chamber, ordered to annihilate their human opponents and hold them back long enough for the captain to be slain. Without their leader, the humans will surely break. Secure the gate. Trapped within within a force field of shimmering energy, the Ultramarines captain has no choice but to battle the Overlord and trust his allies to secure the heart of the Necron facility. If the Overlord can be destroyed, the attention can be turned to bringing down the force field and destroying the Dolmen Gate once and for all. So there we have it, our final battle. Well, until the Reclamation campaign, when that kicks off. But yeah, here we go then. Right, let's go to the dashboard and we'll get first turn underway. Before we roll first turn, let's go over what abilities are active. So for my protocol for the Necrons, I've decided to go with Conquering Tyrant, so we'll get the benefit of some extra distance and range on our aura abilities. The Battle Sisters, I rolled for 2 Sacred Rites and pulled 2 pretty good ones with Hand of the Emperor and Divine Guidance. So add 1 to our advance and charge rolls while the rite is active, and we also get that improved penetration on 6s for ranged attacks. And of course the Space Marines are starting in the Devastator Doctrine. So heavy weapons and grenade weapons have an extra 1 AP. So let's roll for first turn. Imperium have won the roll-off, and I think we will make the Necrons go first. I think let them close the distance a bit. One thing I forgot about the deployment, behind the 2 red buildings there are the 2 5-man squads of infiltrators ready in a key location. So yeah, we'll go into Necron turn 1 then. And we also gain a miracle dice, which is a 1. That might be handy later. So here we go then. So pretty much everything has just moved up. The Immortals over on the left flank there moved up with an advance of a 5, and the Warriors over on the right did the same but got a 4 for their advance. Everything else just moved near enough normal, keeping their distance still, waiting hopefully for the Space Marines to draw themselves close enough for range. But I think they'll probably try to be a little tactical and keep distance as best they can. So what's left to do for Necron turn 1 is to do the fight with the Overlord against the Captain. So the Overlord fights first, as it's the Necron player's turn, with his 4 attacks. Normally hitting on 2s, but -1 because of the Void Scythe. Only a single hit. Strength times 2, so he's strength 10, wounding on 2s because he's doubled Captain's toughness. He does. So that leaves the Captain a 4+ invulnerable save, as it's a mighty -4 on that save. And the Captain makes it. Captain then gets to fight back. Just getting his data sheet up. So he gets 5 attacks. And he does not gain the bonus for the Angels of Death because the special rules state he can't be affected by army faction rules. So 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, 3 hits, strength 5, toughness 5, so wounding on 4s. We have 2 wounds, which go into the Overlord's invulnerable save, as it's AP 3. So 4 up invulnerable save for the Overlord. Ouch, he's failed both. So that is 6 damage, as it's damage free for each of those, putting the Overlord down to 19. The Captain has took an early lead. So moving on then to Space Marines turn 1. End of the Imperium movement phase. Most things have moved up. The Invader is actually in range of those Necron Immortals, just for both its guns, so they'll be shooting without moving. though he would not get a penalty anyway. The only ones that have advanced are the Assault Intercessors next to Guilliman and the Victrix Guard behind Guilliman. They've advanced in order to keep up with Guilliman, who's a little bit of faster movement. The Repentia and the Mistress have also advanced, and other than that, everything has stayed pretty much solid. There's going to be a couple of units shooting, then we'll be on to the fight phase, which will just be the duel in the middle there. End of the Imperium shooting phase, and the Gatling cannon didn't do anything against the Immortals. They passed both their saves, the two that got wounded. The Battle Sisters fared slightly better. The Outriders attempted to shoot these warriors, but didn't do any damage. The Infiltrators killed 2, but they revived. The Battle Sisters killed 2, and they didn't revive. So they've done pretty much most of the damage so far. So we'll see how turn 2 goes, but it's looking good either way. But let's move on then to the all-important fight, and it's the Space Marine Captain's turn to strike first. 5 attacks hitting on 2s. 4 hits wounding on 4s. 2 4-up invulnerable saves for the Overlord. Saved both. Overlord striking back, 4 attacks hitting on 3s. Did twice as good as last time. Wounding on 2s. And the Captain's 4+. Invulnerable. Ooh, that's going to hurt. 8 damage to the Captain. So, that draws the fight even, though from doing having 19 wounds remaining. And now we can move on to preparing turn 2. So first off, we'll gain our Miracle Dice, which is a 3. For the Necrons, we are going into Protocol of Sudden Storm, so extra 1 inch of movement, so it gets a little bit closer to the all-important squishy Imperium. Space Marines are moving into Tactical Doctrine, so Rapid Fire and Assault Weapons gain extra AP. And here we go with Necrons, turn 2. End of Necrons, movement phase. And we just kind of shuffled up. Sudden Storm hasn't come into it much. I did forget to add the extra 1 inch to the Scorpex, so I'll add that in a bit. Not that it's going to give them much extra distance. Might get them close enough to probably attempt a charge at Guilliman. But none of the other units really needed it. They got themselves into position ready to get guns to bear, which is going to be one of the important things for this turn. Although next turn, Vengeful Stars is going to kick in, so that's even more important. So yeah, command phase. My will be done one's on these guys, so they're not going to get many shots off. I have zoomed over to benefit the Immortals more from next turn onwards. Immortals, like I said, they've moved up. They've got Chronometron and Reanimation Beam again. Reanimation Beam on the Warriors there, and I with Technomancer brought back the 2 that had died. So other than that, pretty much everything's done. It's time for shooting. End of the Necron shooting phase. We've lost 4 Assault Intercessors over there, so that'll be a morale test for them. 1 damage to a biker, and we've lost 3 infiltrators with 1 damage to a remaining infiltrator. With 40 shots going at them, I'm really surprised I rolled as many 4+ as I did. If only the Necrons had decided to move a little more and into the terrain, they would have negated that +1 for the cover. As it is, the Imperium are still alive and on that objective. So all we'll do is a fight phase. I'm going to try the charges, I think. The Scorpex into Guilliman, and then the other Scorpex into the Infiltrators, try and kill them. Both charges are a 12, so I'm not expecting to make them. If not, we'll go straight to the fight between the Captain and the Overlord. The Scorpex Destroyers made the charge into the Infiltrators, but not against Guilliman, and they managed to carve up the 2 remaining Infiltrators, taking objective 2. So moving on to the fight with the Overlord, it's the Necrons' turn, so they fight first. 4 attacks, hitting on 4s. Sorry, hitting on 3s, but either way, 3 hits, wounding on 2s. 2 again. 2 4-ups for the Captain. Saved both. 5 attacks for the Captain, hitting on 2s. Everything. Wounding on 4s. Wow. 4. 4 for phase shifter saves. Saved 3 of them. So 1 goes through for 3 damage. End of the Imperium's second movement phase. And most stuff has bundled into the larger ruin over there. Guilliman seemingly is accepting the challenge from the Scorpex Destroyers. He's going to show them what for. Although he could easily go into the Triax Stalker and then allow the Victrix Guard to charge into the Scorpex. We'll see what I decide. The Repentia didn't get as far with their advanced ability as I'd hoped, even with the driven onwards from the Mistress there. They only got a 2. So yeah. And I wasted my command reroll hoping to get the Pentium Engine's advance and charge off. He can still charge. It's going to take a -2 over the terrain, over the pipes, but he could probably still get into the Scorpex either way. But it means he can at least flame them before getting in, and the Battle Sisters will try weakening them with their rapid-fire bolt guns. Other than that, everything else has pretty much remained near stationary or only moved minimalistically. So, moving on then, we've got the shooting phase. That's it for the shooting phase. Not a lot happened. We killed 4 warriors here, but they all reanimated. 2 died, sorry. And 2 that reanimated over here. We killed 1 over there from the biker squad. He couldn't see these, so he had to shoot these, and the other 2 bikers did the damage over here. The Battle Sisters Canoness and the Pentium Engine threw all their shots into the Scorpex, only managing to kill 1 and put 1 on 1 wound. I was so close to reviving it, actually, which would have been really impressive. I had a 5, a 6, and a 4. Damn it. I only had the reanimation beam on them, but I weren't in range. So, yeah, not a lot has happened. Everything else did shoot. Guilliman put 2 wounds on one of the Scorpex here, so he softened them up, ready for a charge. And, yeah, let's move on then to the fight phase and charge phase. So we've had an impressive fight phase. Guilliman charged into the Triax Stalker and went delete. The Victrix Guard charged into the Scorpex Destroyers, but the Scorpex Destroyers intervened with counteroffensive, and they also went delete. So they have consolidated into Guilliman, tying him up for next turn. But the Repentia also went into the Warriors. They survived the Warriors' Overwatch, luckily, but lost 1 of their number to the fight phase. But they did do 2 wounds back. So 2 dead warrior, well, 3 dead warriors, but 1 reanimated. 2 1 dead sisters, not too bad of a fight. Pension Engine made his charge over the pipe and into the Scorpion Destroyers, and he went delete on those Scorpion Destroyers. So, been a lot of deleting, but there's still a lot of models left on the field, and we have, of course, that all-important fight in the centre. It's the Imperium's turn, so the Space Marine Captain will fight first. 5 attacks hitting on 2s. That's everything. Wounding on 4s. Oh, only the 1. 4 up invuln. Saved. Lord fights back. 4 attacks hitting on 3s. That's everything. Oh dear. And wounding on 2s. That's everything. 4 up invulns. Ooh, passed 3 of them. So yeah, only 3 damage. So as we go into turn 3, it is 16 life left aside on the duel. So it's looking pretty even at the moment. Hopefully we'll get a time where things go one way or the other. But like I said, all still to play for. Is 10 points aside at the moment. But that will change, providing the Pension Engine is at least still alive and on that objective come the Space Marines command phase. But let's get on with the start of turn. So moving from Protocol of Southern Storm into Vengeful Stars. So extra AP on 6s. I'm thinking, yeah, I will go into Assault Doctrine for the Space Marines. So pistol and melee weapons are now an extra AP, as hopefully we will be doing a lot of melee focused attacks this turn. Miracle Dice is a 4. And here we go with Necrons, turn 3. End of the Necron movement phase, and the only thing that's really substantially moved is the Plasmancer, who's advanced up on top of the building there, so you can start getting Harbinger of Destruction off and do his zappy stuff. The command barge is also swung around to be closer to the Immortals. Mine will be done Reanimation Beam and Chronometron on the Immortals again. Reanimation Beam on the Warriors there. I brought in the Plasma Sight as close as I can, or at least one of my 2 Plasma Sights as close as I can to the Destroyers, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get there. I need to make a 9-inch charge to try and get into the Guilliman, and then benefit the Scorpion Destroyers. So I think he's just going to end up disappearing again. But I have got a spare one if I get the chance to have those Scorpion Destroyers survive the fights, which I'm not expecting. I also did bring in, behind the black container there, my Death Marks ready to do some sniping. If the Warriors fail to destroy the Pension Engine, they can pick them off. If not, they can just see the Battle Sisters and the Canoness over there. So, moving on to shooting phase. End of the Necron shooting phase, and the Assault Intercessors are just clinging to life with 2 guys remaining. I had to re-roll the initial shot, which killed 5 of the 6, because I didn't realise I'd lost a Immortal, so I had to re-roll, and I didn't roll nearly half as good as I had before. Got more hits, but less extra AP. I had 6s, I think it was, on the Immortals, an extra 1 AP, which was really beneficial to the killing. But as it is, I only ended up doing 5 wounds total, then adding in the extra 3 wounds that came from the command barge that killed off the remaining 2 guys. Other than that, Pension Engine just disappeared with the Gauze shots. I've done 1 wound to the Canoness, as only 3 death marks could actually see her. The reactor is a bit in the way, but she will heal that in the command phase thanks to her divine blessing. So, fight phase then, the Imperium get to choose first, and I think it will be Guilliman going first, don't you? Those Scorphet destroyers aren't going to last half as long. But first off, a few charges. I'm going to try and charge that plasma sight just so he doesn't disappear. And yeah, that'll be it. Okay, end of the Necron fight phase, and there wasn't a lot happening. I managed to get the plasma sight in, but he did nothing to Guilliman, and Guilliman murdered the Scorpet destroyers before they even got a chance to strike back with their infused madness. So all what's left to do then is the fight between the Overlord and the Captain for the round. As it's Necron's turn, Overlord will fight first. So 4 attacks on the Overlord, hitting on 3s. Wounding on 2s. That's everything. 3 4-up invulns for the Captain. Ouch. You know what? I'm going to command reroll one of those. Into another one. Okay. That's going to push him into the lead a bit. So the Captain is down to 7 wounds, but it's his turn to fight back. 5 attacks. Hitting on 2s. Wounding on 4s. 3, that's not too bad. 3 4-up invulnerables for the Overlord. And he's only gone and passed them all. Moving on then to Imperium turn 3. So, end of the Imperium movement phase. Everything over here is bunched up. The 2 assault intercessors are targeted by nanomines, but they are going to be hopefully a decoy unit. We'll see how that plans out. Guilliman's moving up, so he is going to be able to charge in as well. Seraphim have come in from Sky Strike. The Outriders have moved away and are going to focus fire onto the Necron Warriors down here, as are the Battle Sisters. The Arco-Flagellants have come out from behind the reactor and are going after the death marks there. But yeah, other than that, not much else has moved, and it's now on to our shooting phase. Okay, end of the Imperium shooting phase. We've not done a lot of damage. We've managed to kill 1 immortal. Everything else survived the shooting, or thanks to the reanimators, managed to return to the battlefield. I think I forgot to take off 1 of these guys, because I did get 1 failed reanimation. So that was it. They killed 1. That was a combination of Battle Sisters and the Bikers, by the way. So not the best outcome. But it's time for charges. We're going to go with the Propensity Mistress into the Necron Warriors here, Bikers into them, Arco-Flagellants into the Death Marks, and then we'll be doing 2 lots of Assault Intercessors and Guilliman, maybe Calgar and the Lieutenant, just see if they can get in there. So yeah, I'll be back with the results of the fight phase. End of the fight phase, and the only charges that got in were the Archoflagelants, the Outriders, and Guilliman. Everything else failed, mostly because of the nanomines, and because I failed, I couldn't get any other units past them to make the charge. But Guilliman managed to kill 4 originally, then I remembered they had a 5-up invuln, which I rolled, and 2 survived, so I brought them back when they fought. And they did 1 damage to Guilliman, 1 from Overwatch as well. So he's surviving and just gently punching him to death. The Overlord's on the command barge is going to throw his weight in next. So yeah, that's not going to be fun for Guilliman. The Outriders, though they tried their best, they only managed to destroy 3, with 3 more resurrecting back close by. So not gone too well, and the Repentia didn't do anything. I'll cover morale tests now. None of the Necrons have actually sustained enough guys to fail a morale test. The Repentia, she's going to spend a miracle dice to auto-pass hers with a 1. And that's it. So let's move into the fight phase for the duelists. So first off, my 1 miracle dice is spent to pass that morale test. And now we'll do the fight for the captain, who fights first, as it's the Imperium player's turn. Hitting on 2s. Ooh. Wounding on 4s. No, not very good. Saving on a 4. And saved. Ouch. Necron Overlord then fighting back, hitting on... Oh, that's the point, I forget he gets living metal still. Hitting on 3s, so that's everything. This could be the end of the captain. Wounding on 2s. Oh, that's everything. Captain needs to make 4 4+ saves, or he is toast. Oh, he's made 2. Putting him on 1 wound. Ouch. And then I'm going to add the 2 wounds that the Necron Overlord should get back, putting him up to 18. I forgot about living metal, which he still gets. And yeah, Captain is down to 1. This isn't going to go well. Well, the Imperium have the lead at the moment by 10 points. But, yeah. Moving then into turn 4. So protocol is going to be Hungry Void. So 6s are an extra AP on melee weapons. Nothing's changing on the Imperium side of things. We do get a new miracle dice, a 5, and we'll go to Necron turn 4. End of Necron's movement phase, turn 4, and in the command phase, the Royal Warden there used adaptive strategy, making the warriors fall back, meaning it frees up them to shoot at that poor remaining Repentia. The Overlord and his command barge has floated over and attempting to target Guilliman from behind. Sneaky. The Plasmancer killed a Outrider, rolling 3 4s on living of Harbinger of Destruction. Other than that, not a lot of other movements, but I have brought in the flayed ones as a distracting tactic behind the Battle Sisters there. Also, in the command phase, the Plasmancer dropped his Quantum Orb, placing it exactly 6 inches away from the Outriders and the Battle Sisters. So if they want to try and come after Objective 2, they are going to have to risk some mortal wounds. So it's going to be a hard decision. And again, the Battle Sisters could end up getting caught in a fight with the flayed ones if they roll well enough for the charge. But moving on to the shooting phase then, and there's not going to be a lot of shooting because most things are in combat. I will try shooting up those 2 intercessors there with the Overlord, and of course that Repentia with the warriors. End of the Necron shooting phase. The Overlord did absolutely terrible. He got 2 1s to hit and 1 1 to wound. So yeah, that didn't do 2 out of 3 shots. The Reanimator did better, getting 4 hits and 3 wounds from its twin reanimation beams at the Assault Intercessors there. Plasmic Lance, Staff of Light, and the reanimating beams all went on the Repentia Mistress there, but she tanked it and only took 2 wounds, which is the Plasmic Lance. I think the Plasmic Lance rolled more on the shot dice, but I used my reroll to get a wound from this guy, which was only 1 wound at that. She's still alive though, and ready to throw her whips at people. So yeah, moving on then, it's the charge phase, which is going to be the Overlord barge into Guilliman. As I got the space there, I might try and get the Reanimator into the fight as well. And maybe if I'm allowed, if I haven't missed the chance, I will trigger the Overcharger. I have missed the chances in the command phase. Okay, in that case I will save it for next time. Moving on then to the charges. So yeah, hasn't gone the best for the Imperium. Guilliman has took 6 wounds, leaving him with 3 left, I believe. Where's his page? Yeah, he's got 3 left. So he's not been doing too well, poor guy. So yeah, he's going to definitely need some backup, which is going to come in the form of Calgar and the backup force. Archiflagellants finished off the death marks. The flayed ones made their charge into the Battle Sisters, killing 3 of their number. So luckily, I do have a 1 in my Miracle Dice pool, so they'll be using that for their morale test. Because with the -2 from Terrifying Aura, I'm definitely needing that 1. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the fights. So it's just on to the fight in the middle here, and it's probably going to be the captain's final breath. So I'll spend my Miracle Dice of 1. And that's the point I forgot to mention. The Outrider is not within range of the Sergeant, so the regular Outrider will flee the battlefield. Because the warriors got between them, and the guy that was already wounded decided to drive in the centre instead of on the outside. Moving on to the attacks of the Overlord then. 4 attacks hitting on 3s. That was a 1. Wounding on 2s. Captain needs to make all of these or he is a goner. Nope, he's failed too. Oh, Captain is dead, and unless the Imperium can somehow score 20 points, they are not going to win the game, because end of the game, Necrons score 15 for winning and slaying the enemy duelist, which puts them to 45. The Imperium, yeah, they score, they have 2 objectives, but not more than the opponents. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I will call the game there because it's getting late and my back is starting to hurt. But that was definitely a really close game. It's just a pity the captain didn't get his saves as much as well as he could have done. And the annoying thing is that the Overlord does get his living metal, which is kind of a one-sided affair. The captain doesn't really have anything that benefits him to buff him and restore his life. But really fun scenario. Fantastic battle, and yeah, definitely still many more fights to be had. But I am definitely going to have to call the game there because, like I said, Space Marines will score 10 points, or the Imperium will score 10 points, putting them to 40. Then in the Necrons' turn, they'll score 10 points, putting them to 40. Space Marines will score 10 in turn 5, putting them to 50, and then the Necrons put themselves to 55 at the end result, thanks to killing the captain. So there we have it, 55 to 50, a very close affair. Think I needed to have been a bit more aggressive and tried to go after the Necron home objective. Maybe at a later date I might replay this scenario using exclusively only the collection, not as I have done, doubled up on stuff that the collection includes. Like, I shouldn't have 10 Immortals and 5 Death Marks, I should only have 5 and 5, or 10 of the Immortals, or 10 of the Death Marks if I wanted to. Also, I shouldn't have 2 squads of 20 warriors, I should only have 2 squads of 10, or 1 squad of 20. And yeah, I wouldn't have my Imperium side, I wouldn't have so many bodyguard units, so the Victrix Guard wouldn't be about. I would probably take the Mechanicum stuff because the destroyers would add some additional firepower to whittle down the objective holding units. 2 reanimators is definitely a nasty thing. Yeah, just making their reanimation of 4+ is insanely powerful. It is Imperium's turn 4, like I said, but even then, oh, that's a point actually. Hold on a sec. No, yes, I was right. Yes, it is going to be 50 to 55. Very tight game. Fun had by all. So, with that in mind, thank you all for watching. If you think I deserve it, please like this video. If you've been enjoying the content, again, like the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this game and how has your game gone if you've been playing along at home. I'm off to rest my back and work out how I'm going to work through the campaign, but otherwise I've just got a bunch of videos to start filming. So thank you again all for watching, and I will see you next time for more mad content. Goodbye.